Ready. All right, welcome. Hey, this is the Genesee County Compassion Club show, broadcasting to you live from Flint Talk Radio. What's up, everybody? Man, it's beginning of fall. I'm Jeremy. I'm your host. Gonna let you know what's going on with medical marijuana across the country. Let you know what's especially happening down at the Genesee County Compassion Club. We got a lot of great stuff happening down there. And man, we're getting back in the studio here. It was gone for a little bit. And trying to wrap everything up at the end of summer there. But back in the studio now, we got the leaves coming down and temperatures are starting to drop. I know you outdoor growers out there, you guys got to be just about ready to start harvesting. I know probably a lot of you are like, oh, I got to hang on about another month. And the longer you wait, the better it is typically. But, you know, you got that dew coming in, so you better get out your tarps, get ready, because it's that time of year. Let's see, we got a lot of stuff going on down at the Genesee County Compassion Club. I want to talk to you about the different things we have happening down there today and get you guys up to speed. One of the big things that's coming up here is October 18th, speaking of cold weather, we've got our annual G3C chili cook-off. So you guys mark your calendars down, October 18th, that's coming up here. It's also going to be our testing cup. So it's our first ever G3C testing cup. We want to see your strains, your concentrates, and your edibles. And we're going to be testing for the highest CBD, highest THC. And we're going to have live music. We're going to have door prizes. And then if you guys want to, you can check it out online at Genesee3C.com. And all the rules and dates and everything are posted there as well. But we have the, like I said, we got the chili cook-off. We've got a regular chili, which I guess is like traditional, and then there's non-traditional. Some are with beans or some without. That's basically the gist of it. But you guys can win awards for the chili cook-off. So bring in your favorite dish, or if you're just hungry, you know, you can pay a few bucks and be a judge. So be simple.
I'll be outside scratching the door like and whimpering like a dog, you know.
You can roll through the parking lot and give it a sniff.
Yeah, yeah. It's like that. Like I said, that'd be a good activity for you guys to make broader. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that would really be. I think that'd go over really well.
Right now, it's going to be one tasty event. I know that. So, yeah, October 18th. Mark your calendars. You got the testing cup and the chili cook-off. Two big events. You don't want to miss that. It's a Saturday. It's going to be fantastic. So come on down to the G3C. Mark that down. Cook up your chili. Get your buds ready. It's going to be awesome. All right, next event after that is October 25th. We are doing a Humane Society Volunteer Day. This is kind of new. It's called Doggy Trick or Treat. We're also sponsoring 4 cages this year for the Genesee County Humane Society. So for a certain fee, we could sponsor it. That makes sure that the cage is clean, make sure the animal inside is going to be well cared for, get all the shots and food that it needs while it's under the care of the Humane Society. And that's a new thing that we're doing down at the G3C, so that's pretty cool. And this is going to sponsor, like I said, 4 cages for an entire year. And then, like I said, we got the volunteer day as well, which is Doggy Trick or Treat is called the event. And that's October 25th. You can get more details about that at the Compassion Club. Just go to the snack bar, and the staff there will let you get signed up if that's what you want to do, get you all the details about it, and then let you know what it is we're looking for from you. So mark those 2 events down, 18th and the 25th. Good stuff going on.
That's actually good because there's so much problem with animal control in Genesee County.
Genesee County is a huge problem with their animal control shelter. They don't have nearly enough money. A lot of their funding has been cut, and they've got an overflow of animals. So any help that we can give them is, I know, greatly appreciated by them, and of course, the animals appreciate it more than anything, which I know we got a lot of animal lovers in our club. This is a great way that you guys can show the love. So. All right, next thing I want to talk about is a holistic center. You guys, if you haven't been next door, you need to go there and check it out. It's right next to the Compassion Club. Just go walk right around out the back door and right in through their door. It's an awesome place. You guys can get smoothies and different treats throughout the day from them. But on top of that, we have Dr. Shelter, who is a certified licensed chiropractor. He is there every Tuesday offering adjustments to our club members at a discounted rate. You guys can get full chiropractic treatment right next door at the Holistic Center, which is fantastic, and it's quite reasonable. I've heard a lot of people say, oh, I'd like to really get to the chiropractor, but I can't afford it. You can afford this. This is very economical, and Dr. Shelter is an amazing physician. He really knows his stuff. He's a holistic type person who really wants to treat the whole body, And I know that he offers some additional things as well. I'll let him do that explaining when you go see him. But check that out. He's also offering NATE treatment. If you haven't seen this before or heard of it, it's an acronym, NAET, NATE treatment. And this is for treating all kinds of different things. And one of the big things I know that it helps with is allergies. So we're getting into that fall season, allergies are coming back. We've got a lot of different colds. He treats for those as well. And it's a holistic way of treating them, and it's a way of prevention so that you don't get sick or so that you don't have your allergies flare up. And, you'd be amazed at all the different things that your body can be sensitive to, whether it be not just pollen in the air, but also things that you eat on a regular basis or things that you come in contact with that you don't even think about. These are all different things that can affect your body, and there's a way that you can effectively treat those. And like I said, you might want to check this out. Dr. Shelter does different NATE treatments, and this is really something that's helped out my family especially, and I'm sure that it can help yours out as well. So check out Dr. Shelter. He's there every Tuesday over at the Holistic Center. Also, in addition to Dr. Shelter, we are excited to announce that we have a new doctor that will be sort of joining forces and helping out, working at the Holistic Center. His name is Dr. Resnick. He's a certified DO. He's a full-on licensed doctor. He can do everything that you need him to do. He also does medical marijuana certifications, so if it's coming up time for your renewal club members, you can go next door. He's very affordable, and you can get an established relationship going with this doctor. He, like I said, he's not just there for certifications. He does do those, but he's not just there for that. He does all types of different treating as you would for any normal doctor. So maybe you're looking for a new physician, maybe you don't have a physician and you'd like to establish a relationship with one. This guy is the guy to go see. He's been in practice for over 30 years, so he's not new to being a doctor. He's well looked at, well received, and we're very excited to have him. Dr. Resnick, like I said.
Do you also have to be a member of the Compassion Club to go to this individual, or?
No, our Holistic Center is open to the public, so anybody can go in there.
For the chiropractor as well, or?
Yes,
Okay.
for the chiropractor as well. So, maybe you've got family members out there that aren't a member of the Genesee County Compassion Club. You can bring them into the Holistic Center. You don't have to have a membership or a medical marijuana card to go in there. So you can take them in there, no problems, no worries. Take your family with you if you want. And appointments are available. You want to make sure you make an appointment first, but they're available every day. Dr. Resnick is willing to see you and your family anytime you need, right over next door at the Holistic Center. You do need to make an appointment. So, but that's pretty fantastic. I mean, we've got two exciting physicians next door working at the Holistic Center on top of all the other exciting things that we have there, mainly based around helping you live a healthier life. So I tell you, some of the teas over there, I don't know if you guys are tea drinkers, but I've recently become more of a tea drinker just because some of the teas that we have over there are unlike anything else I've experienced. They're wonderful. They're just delicious. So it's getting cold, a little more time for drinking those warm type of drinks. You can only have so many spiced warm apple ciders. Don't get me wrong, I love them, but you can only have so many. It starts turning the stomach. You get too much acid in there and all that.
The Asians, I think the Chinese, when they drink tea, though, they always have something small like seeds or something like that to eat along with it, because they think that too much tea on an empty stomach is not good for you, unless it's prescribed for a certain ailment.
Kind of like too much coffee on an empty stomach, too much acid.
Yeah, because they always have like some seeds or some kind of small, like rice cakes or something like that, along with but.
Well, it's funny you say seeds because we have over there all kinds of seeds. But in addition to that, I'm trying to think of the one. It's not chia. Maybe it is chia seeds. You mix them into your drink and they kind of become a jelly.
Yeah, I heard about that. And also the hemp seed too. Like there's a place down here at the farmers market that sells bread, and I picked up this bread that's got like several grains in it, and it's got the hemp seed. So that was really good too. Yeah. It's like really, of course, some of this stuff is it's almost like a gritty to it when you're chewing it.
It's nutty.
It's nutty. It's like it's basically more substantial than your white bread.
Oh, definitely. It's it's not granola, but it's like somebody mixed granola in your bread.
It's definitely you got done. You can taste the whole grainness literally because you're feeling like you're actually chewing on part of a weed, but but it's actually really tasty though. I mean, it's very good.
Adds a lot of texture and flavors. I think it's delicious. I did want to mention, you can get your certifications and renewals with Dr. Resnick. He only charges $100. So that's a pretty good deal. I mean, flat fee, $100. You still have to pay the state, but that's something different there. So just to see the doctor for a rec, not a bad deal. So, anyways, that's the events. That's the news that I have for you as far as what's happening down at the Genesee County Compassion Club. So, lots of good, exciting stuff coming our way and already available. So, I mean, you guys down there are just doing an amazing job. Kudos to everyone. The staff down there is just rocking it daily. And just a big thank you to everyone, our members and our staff included. Thank you. You guys are rocking it. All right, let's move on here. We do have some news I wanted to share with you. I did want to mention just a little bit about Michigan. Other than, really, we've got the two bills that have been bouncing around there now for almost 2 years in retrospect. We've got the one which is the edibles bill. A lot of people talk about that, being able to have other forms specifically licensed within the law, not just protected by Section 8, but actually carved out protection for them. So if you have something else besides flowers, that you're using for your medication, maybe you got some concentrate, maybe you got some edibles, these are only really protected right now through Section 8, and that's kind of an iffy defense. It's a tough thing to get qualified for these people that are, maybe coming into contact with law enforcement or having situations there. So this bill would carve out protection specifically for those types of substances. The other bill that everybody is well aware of by now, I'm sure of, is what we now refer to the Provisioning Center Bill. And this would carve out protection so that local municipalities that have the ability to go ahead and license different types of distribution centers or whatever you want to call it for medical marijuana within their community, however they so choose necessary to regulate it. It would allow the municipalities to do so. I personally feel that municipalities already have the right to regulate businesses within inside of their limits. I think it's pretty well defined, but somehow I think people out there feel that this would be some sort of an improvement. At any rate, you're entitled to your opinion on these two bills. The gist of it is these two bills are just sitting there. They've been around, like I said, now for over 2 years, and right now they're kind of getting bounced around within the Senate and the House there in the Michigan legislature, and it might be that they don't go through at all. We don't know. They're definitely going to need to have some added support if they're going to make it through, and right now it seems that they may be getting some competition from other lobbyists that are hard working there for the Canadian counterparts who are trying to get something more substantiated by the state. And, for a lot of the caregivers out there and for the patients that are affected by this could be a real negative thing. So whether you like the two bills that are currently sitting there or not, you might want to voice your opinion to your local senator or representative and let them know how you feel about the program. Do you want to continue on with the caregiver patient basis that's currently in operations? Do you want to see it be expanded, allow big corporate entities to come in and offer their products as well? What do you want to see? I know a lot of folks down at the Compassion Club would like to see it continue just as it is. Leave things alone and maybe have a better definition on some types of things like, what makes a plant, what exactly, how do you count edibles towards their weight, stuff like this. These things could be better defined, and I don't know that we need a law to come around and do that for us. However, in the meantime, we're just going to have to sit and wait this thing out. Your support is always needed as the people in our government are supposed to listen to us. Well, you got to tell them what to do in order for them to start listening. So give it your best shot. I just want to let you know that currently right now, not a whole lot going on. The lame duck session is coming around here soon. You got these people that are going to be no longer affected because they're not running for a re-election, or maybe they're out of office due to term limits. Who knows? And at any rate, right now it seems that the bills don't have enough support to move forward. I don't know. We'll have to see. So that's about it for Michigan. I do want to mention a few other states today in our broadcast. We've got Maryland. Maryland is decriminalizing 10 grams or less starting today. So that's kind of interesting. If you're caught with 10 grams or less of weed in Maryland, you won't be going to jail. You may be getting fined up to $100. If it's your second offense, it might be up to $250. And if you're a habitual offender, you could get fined up to $500. But at any rate, it would keep you from having to face a misdemeanor charge, which is the previous felony up to today, and up to 90 days in jail. So with fines. So now you just get fined. So I don't know. I'd say it's a smart move. Kudos to Maryland. I know Clutch is from Maryland, so the band members there are probably excited. They can only pay a fine now for having some weed instead of having to go to jail. It's a good thing. So, all right, moving on here, we have Jamaica. You'd think that in Jamaica you could just do whatever you want. From the people that I know that have gone there, it sounds like you pretty much can, but turns out you can't. Marijuana is illegal there. However, there's been a bill that would decriminalize the possession of 2 ounces of less in Jamaica that has been drafted. Officials are saying it should become law by the end of the year, and they said that they would also decriminalize cannabis for, let's see here, religious purposes. So I guess that's something that needs to happen. You would think of all places that Jamaica would have cannabis be decriminalized at least, if not just be straight up legal. But all right, moving on here. Let's see here. This is a kind of an interesting case. It's out of Colorado, and it's dealing with medical marijuana. There's a Supreme Court yesterday heard oral arguments on why medical marijuana patients should have the right to use their medicine off work. The case stems from the firing of Brandon Coates, who was a paraplegic, a former Dish Network call center operator who tested positive for marijuana in a drug test but contends that he was never high on the job. He says he was open about his medical use to his bosses and that they simply targeted him for firing, knowing a hot test would be the end of his job. So he went to the Supreme Court to fight his employer on the basis that he is a medical marijuana patient. He has a legal ability to use this for his medicine, and his employer's trying to say otherwise. The attorneys for Dish Network, his employer, said it doesn't matter if he's impaired or not. Medical marijuana is not lawful in Colorado, and therefore it cannot be a lawful activity. Well, is this guy drunk or what? Medical marijuana is lawful in Colorado. Hello. So is marijuana in general for recreational purposes. So I don't know. We'll see here. It says here, excuse me, Michael Evans, Coates' attorney, reminded the court that medical marijuana is lawful in Colorado and pointed out that Coates was never in a hazardous position at his work and that nobody ever accused him of being high on the job. It says here they're getting mixed messages from everywhere and they know that this issue is not going away, that they need to get it clarified. The court will consider oral arguments from yesterday when making their decision, and no word on when that will be. So we have yet to see how this case is going to work out, whether or not this gentleman from Colorado would have the ability to continue using his medication, whether or not it affects him on the job, and is irrelevant at this point. And I think that obviously he should be able to use his medication. I mean, good grief. They're not firing people for using their prescription medications, are they? Of course not. So.
I wonder how they can justify that. They say, well, it's not real medication. If it's got the intended effect upon the body that they want it for, like it relieves pain or stress or whatever,
yeah,
then I guess that's why you take medication for. So just because
I really think that an employer in this position should be countersued for some type of discrimination. Like I said, I mean this employer is not going out and firing other employees for using prescription medication. And here he is using legal medication. Granted, it's not through a prescription, but it is legal medication that he has been recommended to use by his physician.
But there are people out there who are diabetics. They actually been fired from jobs because they didn't want them to use insulin on the job. I don't know if you've ever heard that or not.
No, you're right. And in Michigan here, we're a right to work employer. So employers have the ability to say what is okay for the job or what isn't. However, you can't have a double standard. I mean, if the employer doesn't generally fire their employees or prohibit their employees from using prescription medication, regardless of the type, now we have to look at this is a discriminatory type case. If they're picking out certain medications and saying, we as an employer do not allow our employees to use these types, well, then I think, if they have a policy already set forth, it's that way when the person's hired on, well, then that's the way it should be. I mean, that's meant to keep everyone safe, and certain jobs require certain requirements. But in this case here, I think this is a clear case of discrimination. So we'll have to see how the court case goes. Obviously, no word yet from the Colorado Supreme Court. We'll just have to keep our ears out, and we'll let you know what happens if we hear any more news on this issue. All right, Oregon. I was talking to somebody else about this the other day. Oregon, as you know, skipping for a second, bear with me. Alaska already has their ballot. It's going to happen. So in November, citizens in Alaska will have the ability to vote on whether or not they want to have recreational marijuana. Oregon is also trying to do the same thing. They have their campaign kicked off, and they have an additional campaign kicked off to say that they don't want to regulate it, that they don't want to legalize it for recreational purposes. So you got two campaigns going on here, obviously. we're going to have to see which one ferries out here, but I'm trying to get more details here. Give me just a second. I want to say that the folks in Oregon are going to be voting in November. The proposed ballot is ballot number 91 here. Says, it's not giving me the info. I apologize. All right, but at any rate, the measure would allow adults up to 21 and up to possess up to 8 ounces of cannabis at a time and grow up to 4 plants. Again, boom, that's for recreational purposes. Yeah, and that is something they're going to be voting on in November. So, yes, the question was, is Oregon one of the states that's going to be voting to legalize? Yes, the answer is. Yes, they are. So, Alaska and Oregon both have recreational marijuana on the ballot. So if they should pass, it'd make 4 states that have legalized cannabis for anyone 21 and adult and over. So, interesting there. All right, let's see what else we got here. Looks like folks in Utah are trying to get a campaign for medical marijuana, and they have a pretty effective anti-campaign going on. So there's another state that could potentially have medical marijuana. And then also Minnesota is another state that's trying to get it through as well. Man, it's just amazing how across the country, it seems like almost in every state, if you don't have medical marijuana already on the books, then there's a campaign going for it. You know, that's pretty much it. All right, I got some other info I want to share from you outside of what's going on in law. There's some other kind of cool stuff I wanted to share with you. There's article here. This is on leafscience.com. You guys can check this out. It says, what is campaign ruderalis? Have you guys ever heard of ruderalis? I know most of you out there have heard of cannabis indica. Most of you have heard of cannabis sativa and are aware of the differences there. But did you know that there's a third kind? It's called cannabis ruderalis. This type here is very low in THC. It is higher in CBD. And typically it's not been used. Most people are not going to come across strains that have been crossed with it because of its low cannabinoid content. However, it does have some benefits to it. There can be very short plants, and in addition to being short plants, they also are typically auto-flowering plants. So these are plants that are typically from the northern hemisphere where they don't have as long of a growing season, and they'll automatically go into flowering even though the lighting cycle of the sun has not necessarily triggered that effect. They just do it on their own. So sometimes you'll see species that are crossed in medical cannabis that have been crossed with ruderalis at some point to trigger that auto-flowering effect, but typically it's not going to be 100% ruderalis type strain, simply because, like I said before, the low cannabinoid content. But this is kind of an interesting strain. Like I said, it has been used to create auto-flowers. It is a short plant, and it is an entirely different type of genetic code than what the other indica sativa brands or species have. So kind of cool stuff there. And a lot of folks say, well, you ever heard of, there's different types of weed out there? Yeah, 3. That's it, just 3. All right, let's see if there's anything else here I want to share with you this week. I want to check this one out. This is called the entourage effect. One more article here. A lot of folks have been talking about, CBD only type strains out there. First of all, that's a myth. There's no CBD only type strains. They're going to have all different types of cannabis or cannabinoids inside of that strain. It may be higher in CBDs than it is in THC. It may be higher in CBNs. The main thing that people are looking there is that it has a lower THC amount when they're talking about CBD type strains. However, you have to understand the plant doesn't just produce CBD. No plant does. So getting back to this, what is about the entourage effect? This is how it works. It says most modern day medicine contains a wide range of chemical compounds. The scientists have identified over 60 unique molecules in cannabis known as cannabinoids, which include THC and CBD. Many other non-cannabinoid compounds are produced by the plant that also have regulatory effects. For example, terpenes, the molecules responsible for the marijuana smell, have been shown to block cannabinoid receptor sites in the brain while promoting cannabinoid binding in others. And as a result, terpenes are believed to affect many aspects of how the brain takes in THC or CBD, while offering various therapeutic benefits of their own. So let me read that again because that's really key. It says, as a result, terpenes are believed to affect many aspects of how the brain takes in THC and or CBD. And getting back to that previous part of that paragraph saying that it does block some cannabinoid receptors while causing others to create a binding effect. So that's really important when considering the entourage effect of cannabis. You cannot just look at, does it have CBD or does it have THC, because the terpenes that it will also contain will actually have an effect on how those cannabinoids are able to affect your body. So, that right there is kind of hands down the definition or the explanation of why you can't just throw out all the other different parts of the plant and say, well, we want a CBD only type product or we want a CBD only plant. Is because of the fact that your body needs these other things, it needs the other compounds that are present in the plant in order for it to be able to uptake those cannabinoids that the plant has. So pretty key effect, key thing in the thing. And I think that's also why a lot of folks are sort of inclined to want to have a certain type of cannabis, regardless of whether or not it's a high CBD or a high THC, regardless of the fact of whether or not it may be a indica or a sativa. It's because of the fact that they want the terpenes. There's certain terpenes that they're looking for, and those are what actually provides the benefit and the relief of the medicine. So that's kind of cool. I know that I have certain kinship, if you will, to certain type of terpenes, and I'm sure that most people out there have the same experience. Question is can you find a cannabis that has the correct terpenes for you along with the correct cannabinoids as well? And that's something that you can find by doing your testing. So Sean, go see Sean next door at the lab, and he can tell you what's in there and why you want to have it. All right, that's about it. I wanted to cover that because that entourage effect, I think, is extremely important, and I think the more people out there understand why it's important, medicinally speaking, and how it actually works in the body, then you can have a better answer for these folks out there that are saying, well, what about this, what about that? There you go. So, all right, that's it. That's the news and events around the country for medical marijuana in Michigan and the Genesee County Compassion Club. Again, one more quick reminder, make sure you mark your calendars for October 18th, the Chili Cook-Off and the Testing Cup. And again, October 25th for the Humane Society, what was that called again? Oh yeah, the Doggy Trick or Treat. So, all right, John, thanks for being in the studio with me today. I appreciate it. It's good to be back here at Flint Talk Studios. You guys have a fantastic week. Try to stay warm, take care of those plants. And I'll catch you here next week on the Genesee County Compassion Club show. Thanks a lot.